An enclave is a state or part thereof that can be reached only by passing through the territory of a single other state that surrounds it. So it's a part of a land that's entirely surrounded by the territory of a single other state or entity. Enclaves, which are independent territories, means independent states are called political enclaves. There are only 3 such sovereign states. These are Lesotho, San Marino and Vatican City. My last video was about political enclaves. This video is about territorial enclaves. Now the question is, what are territorial enclaves? Territorial enclaves are enclaves that are part of a larger territory, but has no land connectivity with the mainland to which it belongs. Means they are exclaves of the state they are part of, but enclaves of the state whose territory they are surrounded by. They may also exist within territorial waters of another single state. So an enclave is a piece of land that is completely surrounded by another country. In other words, an exclave is a portion of a state or district, geographically separated from the main part by some surrounding alien territory. Enclaves can face difficulties with passage rights, importing goods, currency, rescue, and health services during natural calamities. In my last video I said that, being political enclaves though for any state is the most disadvantageous strategic location, yet due to their friendly relations with the countries that surround them, all the 3 political enclaves in the world are quite safe and politically stable sovereign states. But all the territorial enclaves are not that lucky. In the modern history of the world ever since the nation-states have come into being, thousands of territorial enclaves have also came into being. They have been the outcome of the claims of states whose people share ethnicity, culture or civilization with the people living in those distinct pockets of foreign lands. People living in those enclaves couldn't identify themselves with the people of that single state that surround the native land. Eventually thousands of enclaves had come into being, but couldn't sustain political disputes and ultimately have gone extinct with the passage of time. Over time, enclaves have often been claimed to be their parts by the states that surround them, and there are hundreds of examples when they were annexed and eliminated by the hosts. And this video is about the extinct enclaves. So let's talk about those chunks of land that have got dissolved into the sovereign state once surrounded them, either with its land or territorial water. First few examples are of the lands which were parts of the countries which were once colonies of the European countries. They were the chunks of land still administered by the colonial masters. Those colonial masters were retaining those enclaves through some treaty or by some other such legal arrangement. First one, the island of New Guinea in Southeast Asia, half of which is now part of Indonesia, and the second half is Papua New Guinea. Netherlands controlled the western half of the island, Germany the northeastern part, and Britain the southeastern part from 1884 to 1919. On the 1st of October 1962, after some military interventions and negotiations, the Dutch handed over the western half of the island, the territory under its control now called Western New Guinea, to the United Nations Temporary Executive Authority. On the 1st of May 1963, Indonesia took Western New Guinea under its control, while the eastern half under the control of Germany and Britain later came under the control of Australia. It got its political independence on the 1st of July 1949 and became an independent sovereign state called Papua New Guinea. Next enclave was Hong Kong, which is now a special administrative region of the People's Republic of China. It is surrounded by the South China Sea on all sides, except the north where it's connected to the mainland China. Hong Kong is a special administrative region of the People's Republic of China, with 7.4 million people living in it. Hong Kong, with 1,104 square kilometer territory, is the 4th most densely populated region in the world. Hong Kong was established as a colony of the British Empire after the Qing dynasty ceded Hong Kong Island in 1841-1842 as a consequence of losing the First Opium War. The colony expanded to the Kowloon Peninsula in 1860, and the possession was further extended when the United Kingdom obtained a 99-year lease of the new territories in 1898. Hong Kong was occupied by Japan from 1941 to 1945 during World War II. Hong Kong was occupied by Japan for almost 4 years before the British resumed control on the 30th of August 1945. The territory was handed over by the United Kingdom to China in 1997. Hong Kong maintains separate governing and economic systems from that of mainland China, under the principle of one country, two systems. China agreed to preserve much of what makes Hong Kong like any other Western democratic city. Chinese government pledged that it would give Hong Kong 50 years to keep its capitalist system and liberal democratic freedoms. But more than halfway through the transition, Beijing has taken increasingly brazen steps to encroach on Hong Kong's political system and crack down on dissent. Hong Kong has rightly gone to China and has become its inseparable part, but its citizens who are used to the liberal democratic freedoms are bearing the brunt of the strict control of Chinese government over their lives. Like Hong Kong, there was one more such enclave located 60 kilometers west of it. This enclave was Macau. Macau, like Hong Kong, is a special administrative region of the People's Republic of China. Its population is about 710,000, and had land area of 32.9 square kilometers, 12.7 square miles. It is the most densely populated region in the world. Like Hong Kong, this has also been an enclave within Chinese territory and its territorial waters. But unlike Hong Kong, it's been a Portuguese exclave, not British, with the signing of the 1987 Joint Declaration on the Question of Macau. Portugal agreed to handover of Macau to China in 1999 after 442 years of Portuguese rule. Next we'll move to Indian subcontinent. There are more than 160 enclaves that have gone extinct on both sides of India and Bangladesh border alone. Bangladesh had been an exclave of Pakistan till 1971 when it gained independence from it. But the problems of the Indo-Bangladesh enclaves and the issue of adverse possession took decades to be resolved. Finally, on the 31st of July 2015, the governments of India and Bangladesh exchanged 162 enclaves, a total of 111 Indian enclaves, covering an area of 17,160.63 acres, were officially transferred to Bangladesh, while India received 51 Bangladeshi enclaves with an area of 7,110.02 acres located in India. Additionally, both sides acquired adverse possession, taking the tally of exchanged enclaves to 197 on both sides of India-Bangladesh border. The residents of these enclaves experienced a terrible feeling like of being stateless. But with the Land Boundary Agreement (LBA), the long-standing enclave issue found a peaceful resolution. Next we'll take up a couple of examples from the continent of Africa. First is of 𝙀𝙀𝙀. 𝙀𝙀𝙀, located on the west coast of Morocco, south of Agadir and across from the Canary Islands on the shores of the Atlantic Ocean, used to be a Spanish enclave within Morocco. Morocco ceded Sidi 𝙀𝙀𝙀 and the territory of 𝙀𝙀𝙀 to Spain as a part of the Treaty of Tangiers. When Morocco obtained its independence from France, and then from Spain, in 1956, it claimed the territory of 𝙀𝙀𝙀 several times. Spain continued to possess 𝙀𝙀𝙀 as one of its province. 𝙀𝙀𝙀 as a Spanish exclave had 1,502 square kilometers of area, and a population of 51,517 in 1964. In 1969, under international pressure, Spain relinquished Sidi 𝙀𝙀𝙀 to Morocco. The present-day Moroccan province in the same area is called Sidi 𝙀𝙀𝙀, with its capital in the city of the same name, but encompassing a much larger territory. Next is a Namibian city of Walvis Bay. It was a South African enclave. Walvis Bay is a city in Namibia and the name of the bay on which it lies. It is the second largest city in Namibia, and the largest coastal city in the country with 29 square kilometers of land. In 1990, Southwest Africa gained independence as Namibia, but Walvis Bay remained under South African sovereignty, with South Africa increasing the number of troops. In August 1993, prior to the end of apartheid, the act called the Transfer of Walvis Bay to Namibia Act was passed by the Parliament of South Africa that year. Following the signing of a treaty between the two countries, South Africa formally transferred sovereignty of Walvis Bay and the Penguin Islands to Namibia on the 1st of March 1994. There was one more such ethnic region worth mentioning in South Africa called Mpondoland. Had it not been annexed into this country, it would have been an independent sovereign state like Lesotho, enclaved by South Africa. It was a coastal region and kingdom of the Eastern Cape, which stretched from the Mithitha River to the Mtamvuna River. It has been inhabited by the Amampondo for centuries and features significantly in the history of South Africa. These tribes proudly celebrate and maintain their own unique culture, traditions and heritage. This pocket of land inhabited by people of distinct and unique culture, ultimately merged into the colony of Natal in September 1865. Lastly, there was a type of enclaves which were enclaves only in terms of the unique culture of the people, living on the land surrounded by the land of people of a single other ethnicity. These were autonomous oblasts of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Technically, these regions can't be called enclaves, because they had not been enclaves of any other sovereign states. But they were pockets of land inhabited by people of some ethnicity or exclusive cultural heritage, different from the people living in land that surrounded their own motherland. Autonomous oblasts were administrative units enjoying a similar level of autonomy and self-governance as an autonomous republics. But legally these were lesser republics. Many autonomous republics were formerly autonomous oblasts. Other autonomous oblasts also proclaimed when Soviet Union was likely to collapse. These were Chechen Autonomous Oblast, Cherkess Autonomous Oblast, Chuvash Autonomous Oblast, Kabardino-Balkar Autonomous Oblast, Kalmyk Autonomous Oblast, Kara-Kyrgyz Autonomous Oblast, Komi-Zyryan Autonomous Oblast, Mari Autonomous Oblast, North Ossetian Autonomous Oblast, Tuvan Autonomous Oblast, Udmurt Autonomous Oblast, Karakalpak Autonomous Oblast, Gorno-Badakhshan Autonomous Oblast, Moldavian Autonomous Oblast, and the last in the list of autonomous Soviet oblasts is quite well known because it has been a bone of contention between the two former Soviet republics, namely Armenia and Azerbaijan. Yes, it is Nagorno-Karabakh, an enclave inhabited by ethnic Armenians in Azerbaijan. The two nations fought wars for this Nagorno-Karabakh. On the 19th of September 2023, after a blockade lasting several months, Azerbaijan launched a fresh large-scale military offensive in Nagorno-Karabakh. The Nagorno-Karabakh forces called Artsakh forces collapsed rapidly, resulting in an Azerbaijani victory, and the dissolution of the Republic of Artsakh. While the Azerbaijani government issued assurances that the Armenian population would be safely reintegrated. But these claims were not deemed credible due to Azerbaijan's established track record of authoritarianism and repression of its Armenian population. So in this way, enclaves are pockets of land with strategic disadvantages. The enclaves we have discussed are now part of history. These pockets of land are still there but have lost their status of being enclaves of some sovereign states physically away from them. With that they have lost the demographic, political and cultural distinctiveness. Now they no more are enclaves but are parts of the sovereign states that surround them. That's all with this video, as this topic deals with very complex information, so this list of enclaves is not exhaustive. Hope you must have enjoyed the video and have found it a bit informative as well. In my next video I'll talk about the enclaves that still exist in spite of the threats to the existence of some of them. Bye bye for now. See you with my next video. Take care.